So just lift and roll your shoulders, and just let's move the energy by swaying from side to side. And then just start to slow down and just slightly sway from foot to foot, noticing you can lift your heels where your weight is. So our body reflects our energy patterns, which can be set up through life, through upset, through trauma, through illness, through injury. And this is just a basic awareness. As you shift the weight from foot to foot, you're adjusting and rebalancing your pelvis. And then just very gently come to a standstill and turn your head to the left as you breathe in. Don't worry about the breath. Breathe out, turning to the right. And just a couple of times into the left and out to the right. And in to the left and breathing out to the right. Come back to the centre. Lift and roll the left shoulder forward and lift and roll the right shoulder forward. And lift and roll the left shoulder back and lift and roll the right shoulder back. Lift and roll both shoulders back. Bring your chin slightly to your chest and roll your chin up towards one shoulder. Breathing out, bring your head to the centre of your chest and carry on rolling so that your chin comes up to the other side, like a pendulum in a clock. And just once more, again from side to side. And come to the centre. Breathing in, raising the hands up, clasp and reverse. So this is still going to be the shoulders. Breathing out, bring your hands forwards in front of you, parallel. Breathing in, bring your arms out. And breathing out, bring your hands back together. Clasp and reverse. Hands up. Breathing out, bring your hands forward and parallel, palms facing one another. Breathing in, hands out. Breathing out, hands back, clasp, and then reverse. Hands up. And just sway from side to side now. Come to the centre and just test your balance by lifting your heels. And then breathing out, lower your feet back down to the ground. And just release your hands. Lift and roll one shoulder and lift and roll the other shoulder. Clasp your hands behind your back and aim the knuckles of your fingers towards the ground as you open up again on the shoulder level. This is uplifting for the mood, if you need any uplifting, as you're raising your chest and you're opening your lung meridians. And then release your hands and just circle your wrists up Stretch your hands and circle your wrists down. And circle up. And circle down. And then just shake your hands. Shake your arms. Just walk for a moment or two on the spot. You can keep your hands moving, setting up a vibration. And then come to standing still. Open your arms out. And this is a heart sequence. So hug yourself and come forward and just rock from side to side. So even though it's in the middle of winter and it's snowing, Valentine's is next week. And on our walk today, all the little birds are chirping to one another. So even though it doesn't feel like Valentine's, it is, and it's like a hug time. Open your arms out. Remember, if you can, which arm was on front, but it doesn't matter if you don't. And then hug the other way and just opening out the back of your heart by the spine. And coming up, again just lifting and rolling your shoulders. Once more, turn your head from side to side. Come to center. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, bring your hands together at the heart center. Breathing in, stretch your arms up, either looking up or looking ahead. Breathing out as you bend your knees and bend your elbows. You can slide your hands down to the floor or to your shins. Breathing in, lengthening through your spine. Breathing out, soften your legs, press your feet into the ground, and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Breathing in, breathing out, palms together. Breathing in, circle your arms up, palms touch. Come through the center as you breathe out, and then carry on rolling down. Hands either on the shins or on the floor, wherever you're comfortable. And as you breathe in, lengthen from your spine, tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out, bend your knees, soften your elbows, and roll up vertebra by vertebra. Bring your hands together. And then roll down to come to a seated position on the mat. So it's up to you whether you have your legs out in front of you. That's fine if your knees are a bit dodgy. Otherwise, come to a cross-seated position and lifting your shoulders and rounding them. This is quite difficult. I find this very difficult, and it looks terribly easy. Clasp your hands behind your back. Lift and roll your shoulders and lift your hands slightly away from you, or away from your tailbone, so you're stretching behind you. I don't know why I find that so difficult, but I do. I'm kind of coming forward. I'm not a natural in that. And then the invitation is to turn to the left with your hands up, come to the center, and then turn to the other side. Come to the center. Release that grip. Bring your hands once more to the knees. And this time, breathing in, raise your hands up, clasp them and reverse them. Now again, I find this easier standing, but this sequence has it seated. So turn to the left, come to the center, and then turn to the right, and come to the center. I find it easier to drop my left hand and slide my left hand out and come over to the left with my right hand. My left elbow could even come onto the ground. That I find easier. Tummy in as you come upwards, and then slide your right hand out along the mat. You can almost bend your elbow and come over to the right as you stretch out your left arm. And then come back. Lift and roll your shoulders. Clasp behind you again. This I find the most impossible, and it should be so easy. Come forward, and so your hands will lift up slightly behind you. You might not come very far. And then tummy in to come up. And then bring your hands to the ground, fingers forward, but you can have them comfortably out. And just lift up the front of your body, looking slightly up. Your chin can slightly lift. So you're putting your back into a slight back bend, and then come forward. So we're going to do Kapalabhati, which is a breath work, which is brilliant for warming you up, for anyone who needs to be warmed up, and also very good for detoxifying. So one training method for Kapalabhati is imagine that you've got dandelions on each of your fingers, and you're blowing your dandelion off, so that, as you blow out through your mouth, brings your tummy in automatically, and as you come to the next finger, you're blowing out and your tummy comes in. So if you have your fingers up, you can just blow on your thumb, second finger, third, fourth, fifth, next hand, little finger, fourth, third, second, thumb. And do that round again in your own time. Bring your hands to your knees. Proper Kapalabhati is having that action, but you're breathing with your mouth closed, breathing out forcibly through your nose, and your tummy goes in. Don't worry about the in-breath, you just blow out through your nose. Your tummy goes in. And breathe in and breathe out. Just sit for a moment to absorb that movement. It cleanses, it's called frontal lobe cleansing, so it cleanses the front of your brain lobes. It's also detoxifying for the lungs, and it's a great immune booster in its own right. And in yoga philosophy, it's one of the kriyas, or cleansing actions for the body. Getting rid of toxins or just cleansing your system out. And you're also toning your abdomen as well. So come now onto your hands and knees as we come to cat-cow. And hands are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart, knees are hip width apart. Just sway your bottom from side to side. And in swaying from side to side, you might want to really sway your bottom out to the left, so your left shoulder comes in. And then if you sway your bottom out to the right, your right shoulder comes in. So you look like a cat from the above, slinking down the garden. Or you look like a fish as it swims naturally in the water. And this is just touching on movement that we can tend to forget, the swaying movement. It can increase our hip flexibility. But come back to cat, neutral back, breathing in, dip your back, looking either up or along the mat. And breathing out, round your back, chin comes to chest. Breathing in, dipping your back, cat. Breathing out, round your back, chin to chest, cow. So you're warming up through the spine as you do this a few times in your own breath pattern. And then very gently tuck your toes as you come to your cow rounding. And then tummy in, perineum slightly engages. Come to your soft downward dog, bending your knees and then aiming your bottom high. Feel that you can adjust your feet to be wider than hip width apart. And bend one knee and then the other as you sway your hips from side to side. And the invitation, which is optional, is also to sway your hip as it goes to the left. Your head comes slightly into the midline. And as you bend your right knee and your right hip sways to the right, your head slightly goes into the midline, so slightly left. So again, you're mimicking that cat slinking movement, or as a fish swims, it kind of sways in a curve from side to side. So it's awakening up an aspect of our senses as in day-to-day movement, walking and how we move. We don't necessarily do this so often. And then bending your knees, walking your knees, your feet to your hands to your feet. And then come into a forward fold. You can have your hands on the floor or you can hold your elbows. Bend your knees to support your weight of your torso, and then gently let your hands go and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing, and lift and roll your shoulders. And then come to the top of the mat, hands together in salute to the sun. Breathing in, hands up, stretch up. Breathing out, bend your knees, bend your elbows to bring your hands to the ground. Step back of your right foot, right knee on the ground. Left foot, left knee on the ground. You're back in cat or tabletop. Breathing in, dipping your back, looking up. Breathing out, round your back, tuck your toes. Coming into a very soft downward dog. Walk the dog a couple of times. Bending one knee and then the other. Knees come back to the ground. Hands go to the left. Right foot comes up. Hands either side of the right foot. Just stretch into that right hip. Tuck your left toes underneath. Engage your tummy or lower abdomen in towards the spine a little bit. Lift your back left knee and step your left foot to your right foot. Bring your hands onto your shins and lengthen from tailbone to the top of your head. Breathe out, bend your elbows, bend your knees, curl in. Breathe in, press your hands on your shins and lengthen your spine again. Stay here as you breathe out. And as you breathe in, press your feet into the ground to roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raising your hands up, stretching your fingers, your little fingers away from you, your thumbs towards you, looking either forward or up, and lowering your hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together at the heart center. Stretching your hands up, stretching up, looking either up or straight ahead. Breathing out, lower as you bend to bring your hands to the ground. Step back your left foot, left knee goes on the ground. Right foot, right knee goes on the ground. We're in tabletop. Breathing in, dipping your back into cat, looking either up or along the mat. Breathing out, rounding, chin comes to chest, activating the vagus nerve, which is good for anti-inflammation, tapping your toes, tummy in, and coming to your soft downward dog. Feel free to adjust your feet. Bottom high, you can bend your knees. Your feet can be wider than hip width apart, and you can sway from side to side. And then bending both knees back down to the ground. Hands go to the right, giving space for your left foot to come up. Hands either side of your left foot. Stretch into your left hip if you feel this is releasing. Then come back to your left knee being at a 90-degree vertical angle. Tuck your right toes, tummy or lower abdomen comes in towards the spine a little bit. Lift your right knee and step your right foot to your left foot. Hands go on the shins. Press your hands into your shins as you lengthen along the spine. Breathe out, bend your elbows, bend your knees. Breathe in, lengthen along the spine, and stay here as you breathe out. Breathing in, bend your knees, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing, stretching your hands up, and breathing out, lower your hands. So the next round we might go slightly faster. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands up. Breathing out, roll down, hands to the mat. Inhale, right foot back, stretch it back, and then bring the right knee to the ground. Left foot back, you're in cat. Dip your back, round your back, couch, tuck your toes, and make any adjustments of hands or feet. Come into a very soft downward dog. Walk the dog. Bend both knees back down to the ground. Hands go to the left. Right foot comes up. Hands outside of the right foot. Stretch. Bring your right knee back to a 90-degree angle to support your weight as you tuck your left toes, lifting your left knee. The left foot comes to right foot. Hands on the shins, lengthen from tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out, bend in. Breathe in, lengthen. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathe in, soften your knees and press your feet down as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Hands up, stretch your fingers. Breathing out, hands down. Lift and roll your shoulders. Clasp your hands behind your back. Aim the knuckles to the ground, opening your shoulders. Release the grip of your hands. Just touch your hands to your bottom and slide your hands down the backs of your legs as you bend your knees, bringing your hands to the ground. Step or slide your left foot back straight and then bend your left knee back to the ground. Right knee back, you're in cat. Dip your back in cat. Round your back, chin to chest, tuck your toes and come into a soft dog again. Feet wider if you need them to be, swaying if you'd like to. Bending one knee and then the other. And then breathing out, bend both knees back down to the ground. Hands go to the right, giving space for your left foot to come up. Hands either side of your left foot. Stretching to your left thigh and hip if you need to. Bring your left knee back to a 90 degree so that your weight is supported properly as you tuck your right toes under, lifting your right knee and stepping your right foot forward to your left. Pressing your hands onto your shins and lengthening along the spine. Breathing out, bending in, bending your elbows. Pressing your hands once more onto the shin. Breathe out and stay here. And as you next breathe in, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing, stretching your hands up and breathing out, lowering your hands, lifting and rolling your shoulders. Turn your head to the left, through the centre to the right, left again, through the centre to the right. And then step your right foot back, out at 45 degrees. Your left foot can go out to the edge of the mat if you need balance. And breathing in, soften your front left knee and come into warrior one. Stretching your arms up, they can be bent or stretching right up. If this is too much, you can put your hands on your waist to get the stretch. And if you feel your hips aren't twisting around properly, you can lift your back heel, which is a variation. I'm not keen on it, but some people love it. And then again, soften your front knees, you lift up, breathing out, lower your hands or keep them on the waist, wherever, and come forward over your front knee. You can have your hands, palms up behind you, and just lean forward. Come back up to standing and step your left foot back and just lift and roll your shoulders and then Step your right foot forward, your left foot turns out to 40 degrees. You can adjust your right foot out to the edge of the mat. If you like to turn and lift your back heel, it gives you a better turn, but it destabilises you a bit on your balance. So choose which option you prefer. And breathing in, soften your front right knee as you raise your hands up to the ceiling. You can bend your elbows if that's a better opening for you, and you can also rest your hands on your waist. And then just straighten, and once more soften your right knee. Again, a warrior is very good for grounding, and it's uplifting as you're lifting from your chest. It's classified as back bend. And breathing out, bringing your hands down or to your waist, and then palms up as you come forward. You can still keep your hands on your waist, that balances and secures you. And then breathing in, coming up. And then stepping your foot back. Just lift and roll your shoulders. Raising your hands up, just twist them, just go like that and twist. Coming to raising your hands up again and just twist. Come to center and just repeat that. Twist. And coming to the center, and then coming to twist on the other side. And then come to hands at the heart center. And then just roll down vertebra by vertebra. So classically, I might just give you a couple of options here. Hero pose is tough on the knees, so you can keep kneeling up. If your knees will allow you just to sit back for a moment, then please do. And you can tuck your toes to open your lung meridians, but that's quite tough. So you might stay there for a nanosecond and then come to kneeling high, knees hip width apart. And raise one hand, hold the back of your head and neck. There is a really complicated connection to here. And then put your other hand on the back of your waist. So I've got my right hand behind my head, back hand on there. And then just press your knees into the ground and just slightly go back. And then coming up and release. You can try with the other hand, just hold, put your hand on your waist, lengthen and just come back. It's a variation of camel. Supporting the head has some kind of internal action that makes you feel quite safe to come back. But anyway, it's just coming back upright again and then coming to sitting properly. And come to soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. So I don't know if Sue there wants to add anything of focus today, of massaging the soles of the feet with a thumb. Is there a particular focus today, Sue, that you think would be good?
Let's do the stomach area.
Yeah.
Which is the soft area back in the sort of arches of your feet, sort of in the middle, the whole soft area there.
Okay, so arches of the feet, the stomach area.
Clockwise direction.
Okay, in clockwise direction. So just, if you'd like to massage your soles of the feet with your thumbs.
It's obviously the digestive system in clockwise direction on your feet, because that's the way that your body.
If I've heard that correctly, clockwise system for your digestive system. Just having your knees open as well is just opening your inner groin, and you've got a proliferation of lymph here, nodes here in the groin area. And then just very gently hold above your ankles just to sit up, lengthen your spine. Hug your knees into your chest. You won't hug them right in here, but just hug them in slightly. For those of you who want to just put a little abdominal control in, just put your toes on the ground and just lift your toes off the ground. Try and keep your spine straight, which will engage your core even more, your tummy muscles even more, but that's no easy thing. And then just slide your feet down, just come slightly forward, and then come to lie on the ground and come to rock from side to side, hugging your knees into your chest. Just rock from side to side. Come to the centre, and with your knees still hugged in, just circle your ankles a few times in one direction and circle your ankles a few times in the other direction. And then stretch your toes and just relax them, and stretch your toes and just relax them. And then hug your knees into your chest, still holding them, let them go away from you. Hug your knees into your chest and let them drift away from you. Hug your knees into your chest and let them drift away. And then a couple more times in your own breath work, your own breathing pattern. You're pulsing the lower back against the floor, and this encourages the blood flow. You should start, after a while, to feel almost a tingliness as your knees move away from you. So it's a slight compression as you hug your knees in, your lower back on the floor, and then just a slight release as you move your knees away. And then just bring your feet to the floor so your feet are hip width apart. Open your arms out to the side like at shoulder height, you're like a T. If your hands can be palms down, if that's too strong for under your arms, you can always just lower your hands slightly so that they resemble more an A. And then just very gently, your feet can be hip width or wider than hip width apart. Just drop both knees over to the right. Your left hip will lift off the ground, and you can either look up or just let your head move to the left. And just take a couple of breaths in and out. Tummy in to bring both knees to the centre, and then breathing out, let both knees drop to the left. Your right hip will lift off the floor, and your head can either look up, eyes closed or open, or turn your head to the right, away from the direction of your knees. And just take a couple of breaths in and out. And then bring your knees back to the centre. Hug your knees into the chest one more time and just gently rock from side to side. And then very gently release your knees back to the ground, and either stay there for a few breaths to relax. Knees up, the knees can touch with your feet out in constructive rest, or you can come to line for a few breaths on the floor. Take whichever position is comfortable. I'm going to sit up because I just want to read as you're taking your position to rest. Just focus on, this is a slightly different system, it's a Tibetan system, so focus on your navel and focus from the navel all the way down the legs. And this is a yellow or a gold light in this particular system. So it connects into something called the apana energy, the lower foundational energy of apanasana leads to chest pose. And just think of releasing and relaxing and letting go. And then from the navel crosswards, from side to side, in this system is a green energy, it's the samana energy, it's all of our digestive enzymes. We, in Vajrakanasana, just rubbed the soles of the feet, the digestive system. And then the heart, around the heart area, in this system, again, the colours are slightly different. It's from the heart outwards and down through the arms. And this is blue, and it connects into an energy called prana, which is very much associated with life force, prana, pranayama. And just imagine the energy dissolving from the heart outwards and down to the hands. And then come to the throat, the upward energy. As we speak, the air rises upwards through the throat and into the head. It can often be disturbed as it goes up into the head from various stresses. It goes from the throat to the neck and to the head. And that's the Udana energy. So that energy is the energy that just slightly wobbles in people with any of the things like Parkinson's, or they classify them in the Eastern medical terms as diseases of the head and any of the dementias. And then if you bring your mind to the top of the head, the crown chakra, it's all pervasive, it's everywhere. It represents water, fluidity, the joints, and it assists in all the other energy flows, and that's Vyana. And as you're there, some thoughts for the day. We've had this before, but I do quite like them. It's a meditation on the 6 flavours of emptiness. And they are, the first flavour is that times change, so nothing stays the same. The second thought for the day is that you can't change the present in the present. The third thought within the flavours of emptiness is that when things happen out of the blue, it's not randomness, it's karma in this Tibetan sequence and Tibetan belief system. The fourth thought is that things don't have the qualities we project onto them. So I think I've used this before. What we might consider to be a pencil to write with, a dog might consider it to be something to chew. Everything is, the fifth thought is relationship, so 50-50. It's all, everything hinges on our relationships with other people. There's got to be a kind of dialogue between people. And then the sixth thing is, things are empty of being the way we name and label them. So what we term as a person or a person's qualities is only our perception. Somebody else's perception is totally different. So it is kind of coloured by our perception. So either stay where you are and take a mental bow for yourself, bringing your hands either physically or mentally to your heart, or take your time to come to a seated position and then mentally take a bow or physically take a bow, head comes down and hands to heart. So have a very lovely day ahead, and thank you for joining me today.